The Northman. Is it any good? The simple answer to this is, oh yeah, it's excellent. Spoiler for the end of my video. But we're going to do a spoiler-free review here. The plot for The Northman is what was the inspiration for Shakespeare's Hamlet. And from what I understand, it has elements of Macbeth and other things as well. But it does have a little bit of twists from Eggers, which is perfectly fine because he brings forth an honest representation and a historically accurate representation of what was presented in Viking culture, and it was fantastic. I will say, the previews, I was hoping that this was going to be like your big war epic. It's not. It's very artistically done, and it is a simple, classic revenge tale. And so while it didn't have those sweeping epic battle scenes that I was hoping that it might include, which took me out a little bit, it was still a wonderful story and just made me want to get into more classics and tragedies of previous times. It just was excellent. It makes me want to go and rewatch Hamlet and go and look at Henry V and Macbeth and, you know, and then go back to the theater and watch this movie as well. Hopefully I'll be able to get to do that. The acting in this movie was stellar. Skarsgård owns the role as Amleth. He is just an absolute monster of an actor in this movie. He plays the vicious, revenge-driven Amleth to a perfect T, who then gets conflicted in this movie with certain things, but balanced then by the magnificent Anya Taylor-Joy, who provides what would actually be a strong feminine character. She was a great balance to Amleth in this story. And it's a kind of story that needs to be told. Strong masculine characters, strong feminine characters, and why it's important to have both to showcase a balance. Just absolutely wonderful. So then we have Klaus Bang was great as Amlet's uncle. Ethan Hawke played a wonderful brief role as a strong father figure to Amleth. Just absolutely wonderful. The bit parts that were done by Willem Dafoe and Bjork were absolutely great. And, while there were elements that you wanted more out of those characters, I understood that those particular characters needed to have only brief portions of the movie because you don't want them taking over the story. The direction and the cinematography that we get from Eggers is just sweeping and magnificent. You have these epic shots that you were just really thankful that, the broom closet filming style that you get in Wheel of Time and all these other Disney Star Wars TV shows that didn't exist. You had shots where, Ethan Hawke's character is coming into the town, but the camera was framed in such a way to catch the scenery beyond the gates of the city, so that you understood that this was a bold and broad and rough land. You had a scene where Skarsgård's on top of a roof, and he's coming across in the middle of the night, but the rooftop and Skarsgård's character is set against a hillside that looked that was shining off in the moonlight dew, and it was just absolutely magnificent. The contrast in light is always present. The long shots, I heard some people were taking points away because there were just too many long shots. Well, I'm sorry. I think that's great because you had to plan out those shots and it actually shows artistic expression rather than saying, oh, well, this person can't really fight, so we're going to do a bunch of jump cuts to make it look like it's quick action. These fight scenes were visceral, strong, and raw. Just, I want to go back for those alone. And then we get to the soundtrack. And the soundtrack, I bought it. And while it's not kind of an everyday type of listen for me, you get to those portions of it where you do want to listen to them every day. But even then, the portions that I wouldn't listen to on a regular basis, just on my on my phone or my stereo, you get those discordant sounds that occur that actually blend in with what's being presented visually in the movie, and it all works. The scenes where you're looking at what may be a hallucination, you have a lot of those, again, discordant notes hitting that actually blend well with what's being presented to you. And so it just all works. And you've all heard in other reviews about the drum beats. They hit and you feel them right there. It's so wonderful. It's great. You get that raw sensation of that bass hit with what is up on screen, especially in the battle scenes and the fight scenes. Just knocks it out of the park. So my rating for The Northman is, I'm going to go a full 8.5, 9 out of 10, probably in between there. So maybe a 8.87321 out of 10. It is so fantastic. And in comparison to everything else that's being produced and released these days, it's a 10 out of 10. So yeah, the movie may not be for everybody, because if you're not into that artistic style, which I didn't know that I was, and I maybe not fully, but what it presented in terms of story and cinematography, just, oh, you gotta see it in theaters. And I'm hoping that more people do and catch on to it, because it is a fantastic movie that I will definitely be buying when it gets released, because I can't wait to watch it again. So that's my review on The Northman. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Put those in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you thought. Again, not for everybody, but those are my thoughts on it, and I'd like to hear yours. Have you seen it? Are you waiting to go see it? Because I think you shouldn't. So, anyway, I'll see you guys on the next video. Chegar Nivran Taishar Manetharin.